Hi everyone, welcome to today's Facebook Live event. My name is Crystal Newby and I'm the Assistant Director of Education and Training here at NACAC, and I'm thrilled to be joined by our panelists today. We have Eric Waldo, who's the Executive Director of Reach Higher, and we also have Clarence Cross, who is a college counselor with DC's Cesar Chavez Charter Schools. These tongue twisters today are getting me. And then we also have Janel Young, who manages DC's College Signing Day event in her role with DC's Office of the State Superintendent of Education. And so thrilled to have the three of them here today. And for those of you who are tuning in, make sure to tell us hi in the comments and let us know where you're tuning in from. So, College Day is, College Signing Day is coming up here on May 1st. So we want to dive in and discuss how you can celebrate, get involved, and even get some grant money. And we also want to talk about what this day really means. So if you have any questions throughout our session, make sure to ask them in the comments, and we'll answer all of your questions at the end. All right? So Eric, I want to start with you, and I want to talk about how College Signing Day got started.
Well, it's really great, and first of all, thank you guys. Thank you everyone out in the internet for tuning in today on Facebook Live here with NACAC. You guys have just been phenomenal partners. Well, the truth of the matter is College Signing Day in its current iteration has probably evolved a lot over the past 10 years, but it really started because folks may be more familiar with the sports signing day. So the high school seniors who are going to go play college football, college baseball, college basketball, there's a celebration for them in January, February of every year where they announce where they're going to go, and it gets a lot of media attention. Folks get to put on that hat, tell you where they're going to go play their college ball. And academics, teachers, educators realize we need to be putting attention and celebrating students who are making that academic decision, not about the athletic side, as much as we're celebrating the sports side. So educators around the country said, why don't we use May 1st, which is the deadline by which high school seniors need to let colleges know where they want to go, and let's use it to celebrate the fact that students are going to college. So Mrs. Obama, when she launched Reach Higher out of the White House, did so at a college signing day in San Antonio, Texas. And at that signing day, the entire community puts on their college gear. The high school seniors put on their college gear. They have a big rally, and it's a week-long set of events where they're celebrating college-going culture, talking to elementary school students, middle school students, high school students, and it culminates in this rally where they're celebrating the seniors.
That's great. That's great. And Clarence, you know, talking about College Signing Day, what does that mean for you and your students?
For me, as a counselor who works primarily with low-income, first-generation college students, it really is the culmination of 12 years, right? They worked for this decade, 12 years, going to school every day, and for what? And it is to go to college, and especially for students who are the first in their family to make it to college. But it's also, what's so great about College Day for us, and that I love to see, is that it's an inspiration and motivation for the entire building. So when students at Chavez get accepted, put our shirt here. When they get accepted, we give them a shirt that says, you know, I'm going to college, #accepted. And they're wearing it around the school, and then you've got 9th graders asking where you're going to school. And then you'll find out on College Signing Day. And then you'll ask, because we're 6 through 12, you've got middle school students also asking. And it's great because it just inspires and creates a great college-going culture throughout the entire school and their community.
And let me just echo that and say, the great thing about Signing Day, we didn't create Signing Day out of Reach Higher, but when Mrs. Obama first celebrated it, we liked it so much that we said, why don't we help organize these events around the country? And what happened that was originally maybe a couple dozen events around the country, every year we got more and more people to sign up, 600 events in 2015, 1,200 events in 2016, 1,500 events in 2017 in all 50 states. So this is a movement that then you realize pays dividends at the local level, at the student level, at the family level.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Janelle, you used to be a college counselor, so you've done these college signing days before in the past. So how did you get involved with organizing one of those events?
Sure. So this is my first year working for the Office of the State Superintendent of Education, or OSSE, which is the equivalent of the state education agency in other states, DC not being a state. But previous to this, for the last 11 years, I was a counselor in several different high schools, and it started just as Eric mentioned, with celebrating our student athletes. My first graduating class of seniors was in 2009, and we had a powerhouse football team. We won the state championship. A lot of them had offers, and we certainly had a big celebration for them for signing day. It never occurred to me to celebrate also the students that were going to college. And as I became a counselor within the District of Columbia Public Schools, that became really appealing to celebrate the students that were going to college, because it wasn't as common as it had been in the high schools where I'd been in the past. And as a counselor in DC public schools, as recently as last year, DC used to have this large culminating event that we held at George Washington University's basketball arena. It was a wonderful event. We invited the top 10 or 12 students from every high school, charter and public, in DC, and we would celebrate those students. They'd walk across the stage, shout out where we were going. We had a local radio DJ, Angie Ange, be the MC. We had a step team come. I mean, it was awesome. And then this year, in my role with OSSI, I now manage that event for the city. And based on feedback from schools from last year and prior years, they really wanted to do, as Clarence was talking about at Chavez, created an event that could be more of a community celebration, so involving the younger students, really playing into that college-going culture of each school, getting parents and community members involved, and we really wanted to move to OSSI supporting that initiative in the individual schools. I hope that one day we move back to the culminating event, because it was really cool, but you could only celebrate a limited number of students from each of the many, many high schools in DC.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you. So Eric, kind of thinking about our members both on the high school side and the post-secondary side, how can they get involved?
Great. Well, number one is we know there's so many terrific events happening around the country to celebrate young people. So the first thing you should do is actually go to bettermakeroom.org. Better Make Room is our student-facing campaign Out of Reach Higher. If you go to bettermakeroom.org, click on signing day, and you'll get a toolkit where you can download examples, some great examples around the country of what a signing day can look like. And we have examples of how you can celebrate at the high school level, at the middle and elementary school level. And actually, frankly, we do want colleges and college counselors and college students to be celebrating the fact that A, they're talking about the pride they feel in going to college, and why they're happy to welcome these new incoming college freshmen who are going to join their communities. There's all sorts of ways to celebrate. We have a toolkit, we have a sign-up form. I think we'll talk a little bit more about it later, but actually we're giving out $100,000 in microgrants. You can get a grant of up to $500 to help put on your signing day. But part of our goal here is really to build and create a college-going culture, especially for our most vulnerable students, so that they can see what's on their Instagram feed, what's on their Facebook feed, what's on their Snap feed, is pictures of their friends or their peers or people they look up to talking about how college made a difference in their lives. You don't have to be a high school senior to celebrate college signing day. You see all of us wearing our shirts. I promise you, the entire White House during the Obama administration would put on their college gear, and there's a great picture in our toolkit of Mrs. Obama wearing her Princeton shirt, President Obama wearing his Columbia shirt, and we had everyone post in their social media. So you would talk about what college meant for you and how it got to you to where you are. And I bet that for you, when the counselors, when the teachers put on their shirts, it also creates a conversation for students. Where did you go to school? I didn't realize that you had gone to DC, to the University of California. I didn't realize you went to Ohio State. And students want to have that conversation and understand how college helped so many people get to where they are.
Absolutely. And I have to say, go Royals. This is University of Scranton, by the way. Just in case, since it doesn't say it on there, I have to give a shout out to my alma mater. But before I come back to Eric, if you have questions, make sure you're putting them in the comments section so we can get back to them a little bit later. But Eric, I do want to ask you, what is on tap this year? What's new for College Signing Day? And I want you to talk a little bit more about the grants as well, please.
So we're so blessed to have a partnership with the College Football Playoff Foundation and Donors Choose. And because of that partnership, we're giving out $100,000 in microgrants to folks who are putting on college signing days. So we have the instructions on the bettermakeroom.org toolkit that I told you to download. Again, you just go to bettermakeroom.org, you download the toolkit on signing day on that tab, and it has the instructions. You're basically going to go to Better Make Room to register your event, and then we have step-by-step instructions to tell you how to register on Donors Choose, sign up, and then we'll get notifications that you've put your event up, what you want to use those $500 towards, whether that's buying supplies, buying pennants, creating a festivity, something that's going to celebrate students. And you heard that from everyone. The goal here, whether it's getting a step team, whether it's getting college mascots, whether it's working with the art department to create something creative like your own Instagram booth. The idea here is to make sure that your students and really your seniors feel celebrated. It's meant to be a positive experience so that then your underclassmen can look up to that and see, when I'm a senior, I want to walk across that stage, or I want that shout out. I want that moment to feel celebrated. There's no wrong size signing day. There's anything you can do. Whether if you're in a remote area and you see these pictures of a big signing day, don't be intimidated. If it's just about you hosting a pizza party and a dress down day for your seniors and making them feel special and giving them a shout out, that's a signing day that we want to hear about. We want you to register, and actually we want you to post with hashtag college signing day, with hashtag better make room, so we can see that and you can get a retweet from us, from Mrs. Obama to tens of millions of people, from our celebrity partners. We want that to be trending, so the conversation in America on May 1st, on May 2nd, when we're celebrating, is about kids going to college.
Absolutely. Do we have any questions at this time?
Not yet.
No questions yet. Okay, so we do have another question for our panelists right now before we wrap up here, but I want you all to talk about what your college admission process was like. Janelle, you want to start?
Sure. So I'm wearing a Rhode Island t-shirt. I did not go to Rhode Island. My brother got his PhD there. But I don't have any of my own college swag. I grew up a wicked shy kid, super homebody, didn't want to go to college. This was before computers. So I remember my parents making me sit at the dining room table and complete essays. I wasn't allowed to leave the table until I finished my college applications. And, I was a very smart kid. Of course, I was accepted. My parents had not gone to college, and that was just something that my brother and I were always expected to do. So I ended up going to a very small conservative college, very close to home, 35 minutes from home, in fact, which fit me at the time. And then I, went on to get a master's and all that jazz. But my college admissions story was certainly not like a great celebration because it wasn't something that I personally desired at the time. I didn't know enough to desire.
But your parents knew, which is a great part of that story, right? You were blessed to have parents who they didn't go to college, but they knew was expected for you and your brother.
And I think that speaks to this whole idea that we're trying to get momentum and create a college-going community in these schools, because you do want younger students to aspire to that, and especially the population that Clarence and I have served for most of our careers, these low-income, first-generation students, particularly of color. We want them to realize that, hey, this is attainable. My peers are doing this. These guys are only a year or two ahead of me. I want that. So.
Because it creates a norm, right? It creates that community, and that they don't necessarily see at home in the art building from their friends, from their brothers, from their parents. But when they college signing day, they look forward to it every year to say, where is Marcia going to school? Where is Ken going to school? Where's whoever going to school? And like you said, get up there the next year themselves, or the next few years. For me, I always say I was really lucky. Both my parents went to college. It was like you, it was also expected. But I specifically remember Miss Byra Cole at Wilson, who was a DC Cap advisor. My DC Cap advisor, and really guided me through so much of the admissions process. I knew I wanted to major in journalism, applied to all journalism schools, Northwestern Missouri, Boston College, Boston University, and Syracuse, and got into Syracuse in the Newhouse School. But she really coached me through that experience, and my parents also made me write the essays. Sit down at the dining room table, write the essays, study for the SAT. But again, take that a couple of times. But really made me work and earn what I got, and I was very, very grateful for that. Because college admissions process these days is much more competitive.
Yep.
But I think there are a lot more resources, but they just need a lot more help navigating it, between Naviance, my college fact finder, BigFuture.com, college, with all these resources, but really navigating it is exciting.
Absolutely.
So for me, I'm the youngest in my family. I have two older brothers, so they'd gone to college. My parents went to college, so it was the expectation. But we didn't do a big college tour. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I actually was lucky that my brother immediately ahead of me sort of said, "Hey, have you ever thought about applying to Brown? I think you'd like it there." And so my brother told me I should do it. So I said, he's pretty smart. I should listen to him. And I applied early at the time. I guess it was early action. It wasn't binding, but I applied. Yeah. So I applied, and same thing. I was up all night going back and forth with essay, because at Brown you had to do it handwritten at the time. And I went back and forth with my dad. dad on the edits to my essay, and I turned it in. And then I remember getting the call. My mother's family is from Puerto Rico, so I was visiting my grandmother in Caguas, Puerto Rico in December, and I got a call from my dad. He said, I have a letter. He said, do you want me to open it? And so I was on the phone with my dad, and he read the letter letting me know I got into school, and that I ended up going to Brown, and I had a great time in Rhode Island, and had a fun time. But I do think, it's interesting, I think about how different it was then and now, and I will say that no matter what the expectations are for people, I think taking a moment to shine a spotlight on how important it is to go to school is critical. And what I will just say for folks that we haven't talked about yet is, we call it College Signing Day, but really it's about any post-secondary decision, whether you're going to a 2-year degree, a 4-year program, a certificate program, going to the military. Folks out there around the country, I mentioned there were last year 1,500 events who signed up in 50 states. We know that some folks don't like the word college because they feel like maybe it's going to make someone feel bad if they're going to a community college or if they're going to the military or a trade school. You should be honoring all of those decisions. And actuality, in some places they use #decision day because they don't want to maybe make people feel like, oh, well, I don't know if it's a college. I would say no matter what, using this as an opportunity to have a conversation with your students. Folks of us asked in the past, well, I know that, Brandon's not, hasn't made a decision. He doesn't know where he's going to go, or we don't know what's going to happen to him. What's he going to do for signing day? And I would say to you out there, if you're thinking about that as a college counselor, in actuality, that's a perfect excuse to say we want to talk to you about this. There are plenty of open enrollment community colleges. Here's the places we can talk to. Here's the plan, because we do want all of our young people to have a post-secondary plan. And College Signing Day, ideally, if you've never done it before, make this your first year. Start small and think about how then you can use that as the anchor for a lot of the things you're going to do that throughout that year, whether that's your FAFSA parties, your college admission, or your college essay workshops, your parent nights. I mean, this is something that really should be what you said. It's a celebration not just of a year, but of a decade.
Absolutely. And I think you make a great point in terms of recognizing students or involving students who may not have gone the college pathway, because there are multiple pathways. Because the main thing is just to have a great decision and be a productive member of society.
And finding your right fit.
And finding your right fit. A student 2 years ago, he's actually in college. He's at community college, but he joined the MPD cadet program. Definitely should be recognized, because to be a student of color to join the MPD. The police department at this time, it wasn't not a necessarily easy decision, I think, for the community he comes from. But I applaud him, and he's having a great career. He's actually in college because he has to do 2 years of community college. But it's a great program. So I agree with that 100%.
So for those students, they can wear, if you're going to the MPD program, you can bring that shirt or bring that pennant or say, like, here's where I'm going. You can make that announcement. It's not as though we want to keep any of your students and not include them. This should be an inclusive and celebratory event. I think the other thing, if possible, for the bigger events, as you're thinking about getting big, is how do you include those younger students so they can see that? I worked for Arnie Duncan before I worked at the White House, and the first signing day event we ever went to was at Yes Prep in Texas. And go online, search on YouTube for Yes Prep College Signing Day, and that's the Cadillac, right? That is that's a basketball arena filled not just with the kids, but with the parents and the families and the communities, and they are cheering. It's a raucous celebration, and the idea, right, is you're a middle school kid and you say, like, man, that was pretty cool. I would love to be part of that one day. And so, again, we want to build that culture over time so someone says this is a big moment. And then also, as leaders, we want to not just say you're going to college, congrats. We want to say, now what can we build for the rest of the year, or talk to you about what are you going to need to be successful when you get to college? What are you going to need to be successful to transition this summer so that you're ready, you know how to go to office hours, you know how to ask for help, you know how to go to the financial aid office. If there's any problems you have, you know who your adult leaders are, peer leaders who are going to help you through. But College Signing Day is an incredible moment, but it's about building the scaffolding on both ends to make sure that we're creating that pipeline for folks to get to and through.
Absolutely.
I wanted to come back to something Eric said earlier about it doesn't really matter the size of the celebration that you're doing. And I think that is really important, because I'm guessing that a lot of our audience are counselors, and you're thinking, well, all this sounds great, but where do I get the funding? Eric mentioned the grants. I think whenever you dream big, right, you think, oh man, but I'm limited by my budget or what I can afford personally. Last year at my school, after we did the culminating DC signing day event, a lot of the feedback we got at our school from parents was, well, hey, what about my kid? Why didn't we get to celebrate? So God bless my vice principal. He and I planned our own college signing day, and we funded it with our own money, which was not a lot, but I know that a lot of the audience is used to forking over their paychecks for their students. We kept it very simple. I mean, we printed out 8.5 by 11 pieces of paper and laminated them with the student's name and where they were going. And we did incorporate the students that were going to apprenticeships or that were doing the AmeriCorps Conservation Corps or the cadet programs. And I mean, those kids felt like they had made it, walking across the stage with where they were going. We also bought, very cheap little buttons. You can get them made for $500 for X number of dollars that just said College Signing Day 2017. And then we bought tassels that were just a slightly different color than our high school colors, so that at graduation they could wear something that celebrated the fact that they had a post-secondary plan by May 1st. So it was a very small celebration, but you can always scale up. The important thing is to start celebrating your kids, and I think whether or not you have administrative support or financial support, there are ways to do that. I mean, every school has a space, whether it's an auditorium or the cafeteria or just in the front lawn area where you can celebrate kids, invite the parents, and get your younger students involved.
And let me just echo that, because those are great examples of just ingenuity and saying, like, yeah, we're not going to get the t-shirts from every one of those colleges, we're not going to buy them. But the other thing that I'll tell you is in the bettermakeroom.org toolkit that you can download on our website, we have sample sponsor letters. So if you're thinking, I do want to ask, and I know that, there's a local restaurant where a lot of our students go, there's a local business close by where we have internships from our schools. We want to invite them and say, can you donate some sandwiches? Would you be interested in helping us pay for something, or donate the pizza, or say this is the supplies we want to do, or give a back to school gift bag for kids to auction off. I've seen places where they've gotten a donation of a laptop that they gave out as a raffle prize. I mean, thinking about what your students are going to need, it does not have to be something that's going to come out of your paycheck. You can go out there and ask. So we have sponsor letters. We have a video from Mrs. Obama you can share. So you can explain you're part of a larger movement, but really, you know your community best. And I do think also you're going to see pictures from our toolkit where you have fancy celebrities. Don't be intimidated by that. Really, could you invite a student who's at a local college who went to your high school to come back and say, I'm a junior at Grinnell, and I'm studying engineering, and if I can make it, y'all can make it. Can you invite someone who's a local news anchor? So, can you invite press? Because this is a feel-good story, and people are so hungry and desperate to celebrate people right now, and you have incredible stories of your young people. So I encourage you to be proud, to celebrate at any scale. And again, even if it's just you and your 12 seniors saying, we're going to take a selfie and we're going to hold up a picture that says #College Signing Day. Post that on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Snapchat. Those kids want to take that selfie. They want to post that picture. This is one of those moments you can encourage them, because one of our theories of change is that so many people out there, so many things in the culture market to our young people around buying shoes, buying clothes, buying whatever's cool. We as educators, we have to compete with that. And what we need to do is to actually make sure that young people see that education is fun, education is cool, education is the thing that's being celebrated. And for 1 day, 3 days, 5 days, whenever you can host your signing day, it's great to see that that's going to be what's going to populate their social media stream. And let me just add one point of clarification. You're hearing, May 1st is the day that is the actual deadline. Mrs. Obama, we haven't announced this, we'll announce it shortly, we'll probably celebrate on May 2nd. But if you can't do it that day, that doesn't matter. We know that there are great signing days that happen as early as late April and as late as June. So you have your AP exams, or you have professional development day, or whatever is going on, and that's okay. Plan it for the day you are going to plan it, and post that day. We'll lift you up. We're tracking it. Register will know. But there's no right or wrong day. Just because we're doing it one day doesn't mean you have to, but we want you to feel like you're part of that movement. So we were talking about it earlier. Cesar Chavez is going to do it on a different day, than Dunwood or what have you. So whatever works for you is when you should do it. But the point is, we want you to do something to celebrate your young people.
Absolutely. My goodness, you all are just a wealth of knowledge over here. This is great. Any questions at this point?
Just people telling us how great the ideas are.
Oh, good,
Great,
good.
great.
Well, I guess we'll wrap up at this point, but I do want to thank Janelle and Clarence and Eric for being with us today. And bettermakeroom.org.
Bettermakeroom.org. Download your kits. Sign up. We want 2,000 events this year. You're going to do it. You can do this, guys.
Absolutely. And we thank you all for joining us today, and we'll see you next time.